So you may have noticed that I was talking a little weird in the last video. Did anyone figure out what I was doing? There were two literary devices that I was using, and it's the two things we're going to be talking about today. I was using repetition and rhyming. So before we go on, we're going to watch a video today and listen to a song, and I'm going to read you guys some poetry, and you're going to make your own poem. It's going to be amazing. But before we do any of that, we need to stop and talk about some vocabulary. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is what is rhyming? So rhyming is actually one of my favorites because a lot of the picture books that we all love, they use rhyming to make them even more exciting. So next time you're reading a book, I want you to see if you can find a book that's rhyming. So rhyming is when you use an identical or similar sound in verse. So that sounds kind of weird. But really what it is words that sound similar. And they can sometimes be right next to each other. Like, let's think. Like if I said Fancy Nancy or Walker the Talker. Sometimes they're spread out a little bit, like in a poem. So an example would be if you read a poem and it said something like, let me think. If you read a poem and it said, let's do one about Harry Potter, because y'all know that's my favorite. I love Harry Potter the very best. Miss Walker thinks it's above all the rest. So I rhyme the words rest and best. Do you hear how those sound similar? Rest and best. Those are rhyming words, but I didn't put them right next to each other. They were separated a little bit. So sometimes they're right next to each other, like Fancy Nancy, or sometimes they're a little separated. And that's usually what they do in poetry. And so we're going to be reading some today. The next thing we're going to talk about is repetition. The next thing we're going to be talking about is repetition. The next thing we're going to be talking about is repetition. No, your computer's not broken and you're not going crazy. I was just using repetition. Can you figure it out? Repetition is when you repeat the same word or phrase, which means words put together, for different reasons. It could be you want to make sure that the readers understand the idea, or you want to help with the style and make it sound a certain way. That's in songs. In songs, a lot of times, they use repetition for like the chorus. They'll sing it multiple times in a row. You may think about a song right now, like row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Did you hear the repetition? We said row, 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 and merrily, merrily, merrily. Thank you for not laughing at my singing. Okay, so now we know what rhyme is and repetition. The first thing I want to tell you is rhyme and repetition can be in anything. They can be in books. They're in picture books a lot. They can even be in chapter books. They can be in movies. But the places that I think that you see them the most are in songs and poetry. And technically, songs can be considered poetry. So I'm going to first have us listen to a song. It's a really cute one. We're going to listen to a song. And this is what you have to do. Do you promise me you'll do this? Are you ready? While you listen to the song on the next slide, I want you to listen for repetition and rhyme. If you want to even write it down, you can. If you're watching that video with someone else, after the video, you can talk to them and see if you found it. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. Watch the video and find the repetition and rhyme. After that, I'm going to read you guys 3 very funny poems from my most favorite poet, Shel Silverstein. So go to the next slide, enjoy the song, and then we're going to do our own poetry later.